What is going on, my friends? This is Dave Sharpe. Welcome to Wake Up Legendary. Hopefully you're woke. I know I am. It's Monday, baby. It's that time, game time. And I'm fired up. Okay, we've got a great guest for you guys this morning. Look, if you're not already going through our challenge, investing in yourself, if that's something that you want to commit to and is part of you believe you getting results versus just kind of looking for stuff on YouTube and hoping that you find a home run from some free video or something, then I invite you to also invest in our blueprints. This is a training experience and a program that's unlike anything else out there. We have the success stories to prove it. Hundreds and hundreds, going on, probably over 1,000 now. People who have, posted results on a daily basis. We have people on this wake up show who are coming on as a live testament with no prep, totally unscripted. And now is your time. Now is the time to do it. So get in the middle of the boat, as I like to say, and as I was told and have been told several times when I've been trying to get results with something. Don't be hanging on to the side, sort of off with 1 foot in and 1 foot out. Get in the middle of the boat. Hold on. Take control of the steering wheel, and we'll give you the map to be able to get to where you want to go. But you have to, be willing to hold the steering wheel. Be willing to go up over some 10-footers. Some 5-footers, maybe even some 15-foot waves, okay? Because that's what entrepreneurship is all about. And quite frankly, if that doesn't excite you, then maybe entrepreneurship is not right for you, okay? So with that being said, let's bring in all the way from, let's see, where's this guy coming in from? Canada, baby. Another Canadian. Kevin, what's going on, my brother?
Hi, thank you, Dave, for having me. Excited to be here.
Kevin Fernando, dude, so great to meet you, and excited to learn about your journey and what this online, sort of experience has been like for you. Take us back, man, and tell us a little bit about how you even got started in this wild, wild west in the first place.
Yeah, man. So I've been an online entrepreneur essentially for 10 plus years now. And really and in the online world, that's long. That's a little bit old.
That's like dog years, man. That's like years.
It's true, when you think about how much technology has evolved. So I mean, I'll just say this, that I've done practically every model, right? I've done a lot of stuff, and I'll just go through some of the highlights. Like, originally which is different from a lot of people. My first online business was actually an agency. It was an e-learning agency. I was making online courses for organizations. And, this was, I had a whole remote team back before remote work was so popular and freelancers were so popular. People would be like, hey, what the hell? Like, your people don't work in your office? But anyways, I ran this e-learning agency, and I always say to myself, had I known when I started it, when I was so green, had I known how much I didn't know, I may have not started it. So I think naivety, I think is a bit of the some of the best parts of that. But yeah, I ran that for about 6 years, and then after that, I really started dabbling in, and that was more of like a real B2B. I had a business partner, and that was, less so than, your traditional online business. But after that, I got into really online, more traditional online businesses. I've run affiliate programs with Reddit. I've done a couple of e-commerce stores that I sold. I have a YouTube channel, and I do a number of affiliate products on there. I've built some apps. Actually, just last year, I launched a resort comparison site. And obviously, when it launched, a month later was the pandemic, and and so the hotel industry went up in flames. So I can say that it's been a lot of base hits. It's been some good ones, a lot of failures, but it's a journey. But the one thing I can say is I've taken all my learnings with me, and most recently, I'm really excited to partner with you. So this is probably my most recent venture, and I'm really really happy to have found the opportunity here to partner up.
Yeah. So what do you think has been good about all these different things that you've done, and what do you think has been the downfall? Because it sure has been a lot of hopping around and doing lots of different
Yeah,
things, and that sounds it kind of like, whoa, this guy's done a lot. But I also know that there, as an entrepreneur, there's a challenge with kind of saying no to opportunity, and actually so as a serial entrepreneur, which you are clearly, I have those tendencies as well. Talk about a little bit about how the pros of having so much freedom to do whatever you want, and also the cons if you're picking up what I'm putting down, you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. So I think the pros are learning, right? You get to learn a lot of different things and you get to expose yourself to a lot of different things. And if you're in the process where you're still kind of figuring out what you're interested in and where you fit in, I think that's helpful because then you expose yourself to a lot of things.
Yeah.
But to your point, I think the cons are twofold, really. One is you never become a master, right? If you're always doing different things, then it's difficult to become a master of anything. And, with any business, obviously, there's that investment period and the investment is not just money, but it's in skills and learning and those kinds of things before you start to see, right? Like I would say, it's exponential growth, right? It's, you put a lot of work in and then it starts to show up. So I think one of the learnings would be that part of it, which is, you don't, it can take you longer than saying I've done one thing for 10 years. Now, of course, that's also a risk if it doesn't work out. But the other thing is, I would say, it's not having a system, right? Like in terms of the learnings, I've had to figure out a lot of things the hard way, rather than having any sort of system. So I think that's another one of the cons. And the final thing I'll say is, I think possibly it's, one of the things, I'll just put it like this, I went through 2 incubators. I've been through 2 accelerators for startups. In my mind, I got into my head that, hey, I'm going to be that Silicon Valley whiz kid kind of story, right? Where it's like, hey,
Sure.
you're going to go get investment and all of this stuff. And I realized, that, having gone through a bit of that journey, got a little bit of traction, but, as I mentioned, like I like to say, I didn't reach escape velocity with that. I realized, hey, you know what? That's not who I am. Who I am is a scrappy online entrepreneur with, a deep digital marketing entrepreneurship background, but that's not where I fit in. So I think, I think I'm sort of addressing you. Hopefully I'm answering your question, but
Yeah.
I just think it's, it gives you the opportunity to try and figure out who you are. But if you have a system in place, then I think that's also valuable.
Yeah. I mean, I think for me, and I'm interested in this escape velocity term that you have and that you're using, but I just want to say, piggyback on your answer, from my experience, and I do have experience, doing different things and feeling a bit scattered, like I'm, doing, like I just don't really have my. Sorry, dropped my stress ball here. Like I don't really have a focus, like I'm not really building on something.
Right.
Like I'm not really building, and I don't really have a simple business that's creating predictable profits. More so, I'm just kind of throwing spaghetti at the wall, but I'm presenting to the world like I'm in business and I kind of got it all together. But behind the scenes, like internally, I'm feeling very scattered and I'm feeling very unsure and I don't have a lot of certainty, right? And I've been through that before, and I'm still tempted with those various different schemes, if you will. Like I call it sort of like a shiny object syndrome or a scheme. It's like, and not like a pyramid scheme. I'm like a scheme, like I'm scheming for like cryptocurrency or like that fast kind of, can I get in and make a quick buck or something? I know a lot of our marketers get hit up in their subscribed to 1,000 lists. They're getting hit up by people who are saying, oh, one of the common things that happens in our group is people join our Facebook group and then they have these little, sharks that hit them up in private message and say, oh, legendary sucks, but I have this other fast little thing you can make money quickly with, right? And so that's a temptation. And now all of a sudden, instead of mastering the skill, which I think was brilliantly put by you, they're off to another thing, and then they're off to another thing, and they never really give themselves a chance to be able to pick up traction and develop real skills. And so, that's been sort of my experience, and also what I think a lot of our marketers experience. And that's why I had asked you that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. I think, thinking back as you're saying that, reflecting on my journey, when I was really early on, everyone sort of has these ideas of, are there these get rich quick kind of schemes online that you see, right? You see on YouTube every week. There's my Billy made 30,000 in my 2-week system, right? No, Billy didn't. If Billy did, he's one. And then you'll go to their page, and at the bottom they'll have their standard income claim disclaimer. Right? Like none of these claims are real, right? But
but the average person doesn't experience that. I mean, that's like one of the biggest things that I learned about making disclosures is, yeah, Billy may have done that, but the average person who buys anything or joins anything doesn't get shit because they don't do shit because they don't commit and they're scattered.
And Dave, you said, you hit the nail on the head, right? Like you don't do shit. And the reality is, here's where I fell apart. And I think the second example is probably not what everyone's doing. So more so than for me, the get rich quick, I was doing something even worse. I was looking for the Facebook, the single home run, right? Yeah. I would do a ton of work and then think that would be like, hey, there's nothing, and then boom, right? And so that's also terrible. But what I've learned, recently, obviously working with you and going back to my YouTube channel, is there is something to be said to gradually learning and building and improving. And as your skills improve and you build a business that is predictable, that doesn't require you to be a genius. Right? Yeah. Like I see exactly like you were saying, there's the one end where it's, you got to be a scammer or super lucky or, deluded. And then there's you have to be a genius. But I think it's, definitely there's methods out there. It's more possible than ever for an average person who's willing to work hard and put in the work and, and learn to make it with a predictable system that's informed by data.
Yeah. Well, and also as we get older, I'm 37 now, dude. I got 2 small kids at home.
Yeah.
Like I need systems. I need predictability. I can't work 20 hours a day like I used to.
Right.
There's some of you cats on here who can, and more power to you. We got a lot of young people that are, coming from TikTok and so forth. And that's great. If you can do that, like I started when I was 25, 26. Now I have an older kid as well, but I wasn't taking care of toddlers. You know what I mean? Like taking care of toddlers is a different ball game. Like my wife's at home with the kids today because our nanny was there last night because we like to bring her sometimes so we can sleep through the night. Right. So that's what we're juggling. And, for me today, like if I had to start all over again, I would do exactly what we teach here. Like I wouldn't go and try to do a startup. I wouldn't go and try to get venture capital. I don't know those businesses anyways. I don't know those, but I wouldn't go to take a business loan out to start a franchise. I wouldn't do any of that. I would start a TikTok account. I would start a YouTube channel. And I would start creating content. And I would start a blog and I would repurpose my videos into blog posts and I would strip the audio and put them on a podcast. And I would take some of those posts and post them on a Facebook group or on my Facebook timeline, right? So I'm repurposing, but I would know after a year that if I delivered a lot of quality content, that I could probably make 20, 30, 40, 50,000 in that year. More experienced, I could make more. But even starting out, brand new, if you just commit 12 months, you could make enough in a year to survive and build your list and build your trust and rapport with your audience. And then year 2, you got predictable 20, 30,000 a month. That's not a guarantee. This is a hypothetical what my plan would be. Year 2, that would be, I'd be getting income from YouTube. I'd have a deep funnel, exactly how we teach, with an affiliate offer or 2 or 3 right in the front of my funnel, one front door, and then my follow-up series, 2, 3 other offers, coaching, maybe a course, something like that. In year 2, I'd be in those 20, 30,000 a month deals, and then just up from there. That's how clearly I see this. And the problem is when people are coming in, starting out brand new, they just can't see past it. They just can't see into that 6 months, 12-month period to where you have to commit and delay your gratification, right?
Dave, you spot on. Literally, and I was just talking to Matt about this. Literally this morning, right? And I wanted to bring this up with you. Literally this morning, I get an email from someone who's on my channel, and they're like, "I'm going to skip. Kevin, the problem is I'm totally new to these. I don't know a lot about online sales or marketing. I just want to try it out, and I'm tired of owing before I start making money." So, and I wanted to ask you as well, like, what that expectation of, that get rich quick mentality, that expectation, Dave, what do you think for someone, you mentioned the 12 months, is that for someone who's full-time, or like, how would you adjust your expectations? Like you talked about, if you do have a family, if you do have maybe a part-time, how do you sort of adjust your expectations with a great model like you're saying here, where it's predictable?
Yeah. So are you talking about like, how fast can I make my money back?
Right, that's always the question, right?
It's a trap. That is a trap question coming from a broke-minded person. And I have to understand that if I take that bait as the marketer, as the salesperson, if I take that bait and I start backpedaling and trying to convince them that my thing can deliver for them, then both of us lose, because I'm not going to make a sale as a marketer or salesperson, and they're not going to be challenged to look at themselves and take responsibility for their success. So instead, what I do when somebody says, well, how fast can I make my money back? As if I'm on trial, right? As if my work and my dedication is on trial. What I do is I put away the broke bait. I say that's a broke bait question in my mind. I say this person's coming at me with broke bait mentality. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to dangle out some money bait, and I'm going to put it back on them. And I say, look, I'm not willing to take responsibility for your success or your failure, my friend. I'm just not. That's boundaries that I have in my life, and I've worked hard to get to where I'm at. Our program, our product doesn't need to be on trial. We've got success stories. The model's proven. I didn't invent it. The question is, when are you ready to do something different about your situation? And if you're ready to do something different about your situation, you could probably succeed at anything that you do. You can definitely succeed at this if you're ready to do something different. But the question is, why is this time going to be different for you? And shut up.
Yeah, I think you're spot on there, Dave. And it's unfortunately and I understand, right? I understand where people are coming from, right? They're in a financial situation they want to get out of, or they want to aspire to live a certain lifestyle, but what I tell people sometimes as well is like, look, man, I learned a lot of this shit 10 years, thousands of dollars of money and time invested. And, had I learned this one principle, this other, or this system, whatever the investment you make is, I'm hearing a bit of an echo. Are you getting it on your end, Dave? Okay, we're straight.
Yeah, I was getting an echo too.
Oh, From
Okay.
me or him?
On Kevin.
Okay.
I think it's good now.
Okay, weird. but no, but what I was saying is like, you have to think about the time savings, right? Like in terms of if it takes you now 10 years or 5 years to do this versus like Dave, you said like a year with the right system, what is your time worth? What is that worth to you, right? So I think people are looking at it in a short-sighted mindset as opposed to, hey, what does this look like in the future? And as you said, Dave, I think the biggest piece, and you hit on the head there, is like, are you trying this out, or is this a commitment to you? Are you serious about this? And if you're not serious, what I would advise is like you were saying, yeah, YouTube's not, and learning stuff on YouTube and TikTok's not going to help you, but maybe dabble with it and see if you want to get serious. And then when you're ready to get serious.
The biggest thing that attracts that sort of question is when marketers and salespeople dangle broke bait. And what broke bait is for a marketer, a salesperson, is desperate marketing. All right. That there is a big difference in desperate marketing and marketing that comes off as I don't need your money and I'm not here to convince you of shit. There's a very big difference between that. And the reason why those sort of I don't ever get those questions from people. And I'm not saying that I'm something special, or maybe people are intimidated or something. I don't know. But even back in the day, I when I was actively on the phone, actively affiliate marketing, just in the trenches every day, and that's all I did, I didn't get that question a lot. And the reason why was because I was really raw with telling people what this business was like. And I would get them excited about taking on challenges, and I would get them excited. I would talk about this being hard. It's the same thing about how I talk about my addiction, heroin addiction, homelessness, high school dropout, teenage father, arrest. I ran from the cops and crashed my car into a house, like all this kind of shit when I was in my early 20s. Nobody can ever use that against me though, because I've already given it to you. So you can't dig up any dirt on me. Dave Sharpe's as clean as a whistle, not because I am, because you know everything about me. You know exactly who I am. So in my marketing, the other thing that I'm doing is, while I'm demonstrating what's possible and also constantly hitting on pain points, like, hey, telling stories about how I used to hate my job and hate my boss, etc., because I know that relates, the person that I'm marketing to can relate to that. I'm also talking about how this shit is hard. I'm talking about how it takes commitment. I'm talking about how that I get excited about challenges. I get excited about overcoming things. And as I mix that into my marketing, that eliminates all those dumb questions, because I'm not marketing it like it's a get-rich-quick scheme. I'm not marketing it like it's an MLM, right? I'm not marketing it like that. I'm having real conversations in talking about, just like I introed the show. I was like, entrepreneurship is probably not for you if you can't figure out how to get excited about challenges, because challenges are going to come anyways. So you might as well just get excited about them and expect them, instead of having them hit you like a 2x4 every time they pop up. Aren't you tired of being surprised by challenges and then acting surprised? I see people who are 40 and 50 and 60 years old, and they're like, I just can't believe that. Why can't you believe that some shit happened? That's life. Life is about suffering. And that's what life's about. So what I like to do in my marketing is talk about how stuff is hard, talk about the reality of entrepreneurship. And that eliminates all that dumb shit that people ask, like, how fast can I make my money back? It's like, how fast do you want to get to work and stop being a little bitch? I mean, I'm just being real. It's like, I don't say that stuff to people because I can't, and I don't endorse our, BPA saying that, or our customer support saying that. But damn it, I'm being real right now. And that's the truth. Like, how fast do you want to stop messaging people and asking them, how long until I can get my money back? I mean, aren't you tired of living like that? Like, that's such a small, below your potential way to live. So I can put out that energy, without saying those exact words. You know what I mean? Like, we're having a high level conversation here, but I think that energy is how we eliminate that sort of dumbass shit popping up, because people are like, fuck, you know, I either like it or I don't like it, but this cat's not lying. You know what I mean?
Spot on, Dave. Can't disagree with the thing you said. And you know, the other part of it is, and I think you touched on it earlier, is you know, this isn't for everyone, right? I got to be honest with you. 99% of people, you know, I got this whole video about it, but anyways, 99% of people, you know, they come up with, they're drinking tequila with their buddies, and they come up with some fucking idea that they're gonna go do. Probably at least half of the people never take it past that romanticized stage. Right. Probably 80-90% of people may try or something, or maybe a little bit more try. But I find most people, exactly like you're saying about challenges, they can never get past the part where they get punched in the face. Right? Like, you come up with your idea.
Totally. You get hit one time and you're like, ah! You never run and you cry and you never come back to the ring again.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what, Dave, like you said, entrepreneurship is about just, you know, as long as you just keep getting up, like if you want to use a boxing analogy, and like, then, you know, you're going to win. And it's like, okay, this guy just keeps getting knocked down and just keeps getting up, just keeps getting up. This idiot doesn't know when to quit. But as long as you're training in between fights and getting better, then eventually you're, you know, if you're good at it, and this is the other thing I say, you have to have some natural ability, right? Not everything is for everyone, right? You have to have the ability to learn. Right, you have to have the ability or know how you learn, because people learn differently. But yeah, David, just
you have to have the ability to you have to have the ability to not be an arrogant asshole, I think, is the other thing that you have to have the ability to do, is because so many people come in, Kevin, and they just are so stuck up their own ass about what they know, and that they can't learn anything, and that they already have it all figured out, yet they're scouring the internet for ways to make their life better and make more money. And it's just like, for me, it's like, just like what you said at the beginning of the show, it's like, I used to think I knew everything, and I was such an arrogant ass. And now it's like, I'm more confident because of what I know I don't know. I'll say that again. I'm more confident as a person because I know what I don't know. And I don't walk around trying to pretend like I know everything, you know, and constantly making an ass out of myself. I mean, my wife's been with me for 13 years, and some of the things that she's had to endure and watch me do, I just can't even imagine. It's sort of like that constant face palm. It's like, here this asshole goes again. You know what I mean? And it's like, so now I'm to this point to where I'm not saying I don't still do dumb shit and act arrogant, but
right.
Man, I just know a lot more about what I don't know. And I really try to seek out and surround myself with good quality people that tell me the truth, and that, you know, I can lean on for advice, and I stay accountable, and I share my truth, and it works out a lot better. So I think that the mandatory things for people to succeed in this are that you have to be willing to be humble. You just have to be willing to be honest and humble, man, and just say, you know what, like, my life is kind of fucked right now, and everything I've tried in the way that I've tried it has not really worked out. My best thinking got me right here where I'm at, and I really need to be humble in this season of my life, and just like take some direction and be patient and stop trying to do it my way, which is this, how, you know, that's a perfect example of the mindset. How fast can I make my money back? Well, how fast have you ever made money? I mean, up until this point, it's like you've probably, if you made money fast, we wouldn't be having this conversation right now, because you wouldn't be looking to try to make money fast with what I got. I'd be calling you. So it's like, I need to just sit in my seat and put my seatbelt on and get ready for a ride, you know, and like trust the pilot, but be willing to put, like you say, put in the work. We should have named this how to not be a little bitch and make your first dollar this show. But we didn't name it that. We named it Serial Entrepreneur Hitting Escape Velocity. So I'm wondering what escape velocity is to you.
Yeah. So, I just to back it out, even it's like a space term, right? So, when a spaceship, it has to reach a certain speed, it's being pulled down by gravity, right? It's going up and it's just being pulled. It's got to fight. And then it gets into the frictionlessness of space and just continues going, right? So, it's a term I use, and it's kind of something I'm coining, right? It's
I like it.
Yeah, thank you. It's just, I find, the hardest part, and not to say the journey won't get harder, but the hardest part is, reaching that escape velocity. And for me, I've had a lot of time up in the stratosphere, right? But I don't feel I've reached that escape velocity. And escape velocity to me means, I could literally shut everything off. I'd never do that. And then just be floating. Right? You could be a permanent investor, money's a machine, work for yourself, never have to do anything again, right? And I could live a lifestyle that's completely fine, right? So, and that's what I mean by that is just, I feel like I've done a lot, but I feel like I'm still not in the stratosphere, right? I feel like I'm past the planet, right? Where I'm in the bounty of space. So that's kind of it. And Dave, and the reason for that, going back to what you're saying, is I've done a lot, and maybe I'm different from most, but I've done a lot of needlessly difficult things. like why the fuck am I trying to make apps? Right? Like, oh my God, like I made a B2B sales app, blew 30K on this, went through multiple incubators. And like Salesforce is here. You're not beating Salesforce, right? So, I think, Dave, I've had a lot of time up here, but I think it's a lot due to, maybe like you said, right? Maybe ego, maybe it's, just being blind to the market, being blind to listening to the signals in the world and learning, right? From, and I think, maybe stubbornness. So now I'm back on a path where it's, hey, look, this is not a get rich quick scheme, but it's a system. It's predictable. I get data back daily that I know that things are working, right? It's not, I'm building this thing in my basement. I'm going to bring it out one day after 2 years. The world's going to be like, wow.
and then you bring it out and everybody's like, fuck, that thing was, somebody invented that 2 years ago, dumbass. You just were buried in your basement, right? Or whatever, right? Or you're 30,000 in debt. And it's like everybody, you bring this out and you're like, isn't it great? And everybody's like, I don't get it. You know what I mean?
Hey, true story, man. It hurts to laugh at, but
I know. Well, that's every entrepreneur thinks what they do is the greatest thing.
It's true.
And then it's like, that's the worst thing, even with creating a course. So many people go and create their course and they like spend months and months and months recording videos. And then they never learned how to sell. So they can't even sell it. Or the way that they're framing it is like, nobody gets it or understands it. It's always, for me, I always write the sales letter first, right? Before I do anything, before I try to even create a course or sell anything, I write the sales letter first to make sure that I can sell it. And then I go and do a test in the market and see if anybody wants to buy it. And then it might be, some idea that I have, and I'll sell it, and I'll deliver it on like a 1-day Zoom workshop or something. And that's what I love about this business. You say the instant feedback. I can take any idea that I have that might help somebody in my information in that niche. Now, whether it's make money, whether it's health, whether it's, diabetes, whatever niche I'm in. And I can take an idea and I can write an email about it and send it out to my list and say, reply to this if this sounds like something that you're interested in, if this resonates with you. And you can get instant feedback to know whether your angles, where you're at with touching on people's pain points. If you have an offer that you want to make for a course or a workshop or a coaching program, instantly you can send an email out to your list, even if it's only 100 people, and say, reply 1 if this really sounds good, reply 2 if this is not something you're interested in. And then, for the rest who didn't reply, they're all 2s, right? They weren't interested, So yeah, man, I really get that, that sort of typical entrepreneur. And it's also what's taught in school, which is, go to college for a long ass time, take out tons of loans, and then get out, and you need financing, you need funding. We all watch Shark Tank and we think, oh, that's how you start a business. You need to have an investor. I need to go borrow money. And it's like, no, you don't. You need savings, maybe a credit card, right? Because just in America, everything's put on a credit card. You need a credit card, and you need to just be willing to go out there and start selling, marketing. That's why we're called legendary marketer and not legendary coach. Or because people would think, oh, I just want to be a coach, right? I can just become a coach, a life coach. And it's like, no, because you don't know how to sell. You don't know how to sell your life coaching services. So no, what you need to do is become a marketer, and then you can sell anything. You can sell affiliate products, you can sell courses, coaching, events, any of that stuff, and experience what you call, what do we call it? Escape velocity.
Dave, look, obviously I'm on the show, but I'm not trying to blow smoke up your ass. But to be honest, one of the things that, from your course that really resonated with me was, I think you talk about imparting the value of, exactly like you said, selling, right? Like selling is the most fundamental skill in sense of your life. To get a date, you're selling. Right? To get a job, you're selling to. At any given time, you are, and it's so funny, like you're saying, where, and this is the reason why you have PhD scientists who work for people rather than being, a million, like the guys who are building Elon's rocket ships, right? They have the skills, but they don't know how to sell or market, which are the most important. Right? So not to say you don't need the skills, but so I completely agree with you there that, just being and to your point about, instant feedback, one of my favorite things I say is like, the market doesn't lie, right? I had those delusions in my, in my basement with my buddies building the startup, right? Where you think it's going to be wonderful, but the market does not give a fuck, or maybe they do, but the sooner you can find out, the better. Right?
I lie to myself all the time, but the market never lies to me, right?
Yeah, the market's cruel. Don't get me wrong.
I know, man, but it's beautiful. But if you can embrace it and keep and use it as this instant feedback. I mean, the beauty about Facebook and social media and all this instant connection, is that you can take an idea and instantly know what you need to adjust, get instant feedback from your audience. I just realized your YouTube channel, somebody came through and became a coaching client here from watching some of your stuff on your channel, and said that they really dug your content. So
thank you.
Your YouTube channel up here, Solopreneur, Kevin Fernando. You guys can go check him out on YouTube. You're getting back into the YouTube game, and I think you're gonna do great. I think also for you and anybody else who can grasp this, I think Kevin understands it. That's why you're doing it. The more things you can create that are your own, like you're kind of coining this term escape velocity, the more you can kind of coin your own terminologies, come up with your own sort of little terms that you call things, or that are sort of your own. It creates curiosity, and it also is specific to you. And that's, besides just your face and your voice being your brand, those sort of terms, for me, you can kind of see, we've obviously got terms and little sayings that we have here, but we have colors. It's black. I wear the same thing every day. People probably think I'm homeless, and I don't give a shit, because I pretty much do wear the same shirt every day, but it doesn't matter, because nobody gives a shit. Nobody cares about what I'm wearing. I'm branding over time, just, keeping it consistent, doing the same things. I moved houses, moved offices. I'm working out of a house instead of an office, but I reinstalled this wall behind me. It just is what I was using before. It's just, and it doesn't need to be fancy. It's just consistency breeds comfortability with people, familiarity. And the more they see you, the more consistently they see you, even at the same times. It's like a TV show. You know when it's on. You know what the setup's going to be. You know what the framework's going to be. You know what the theme is going to be. You know what the intro is going to be. You know what the outro is going to be. And that breeds trust. That breeds trust, as well as good content, good edutainment, as I call it, education combined with entertainment. And the more you guys do that, and not overcomplicate it. Every time you have a wild, complicated idea, just say, no, thank you today, right? No, thank you today. Maybe tomorrow, right? Maybe tomorrow, but not today. Today, I'm going to stay on track. Today, I'm gonna put a deposit into my investment account. Today, I'm not gonna try to get rich quick with Dogecoin or Bitcoin or whatever else it is, right? Today, I'm just gonna put money into my 401k. Today, I'm gonna put money into what I know works. And by the way, that also is my investment philosophy, right? I just put money into real estate. I put money into to my investment portfolio that's managed by an expert. I'm not sitting around all day trying to get rich with all these various things, right? And I do the same thing with my business. Every day I put an investment into my long-term portfolio. Just put an investment. Doesn't need to be $1 million investment. Doesn't need just an investment, maybe $100, right? It's just consistent daily. And then you know what? Over time, I'm going to be Warren Buffett, man. I'm going to be the Warren Buffett of marketing. I'm going to be the Warren Buffett of investing, not because I was this great, brilliant dude who had these monster days and broke records, but because I made deposits every day and nobody else was willing to make a deposit every day like me. You know what I mean?
Dave, you're absolutely right. And I think it's, just a commentary on society. Why is it that it seems like people don't want to do hard things, but they secretly know great. What my favorite expression ever is: greatness is never on sale. Right? Success is never on discount, but it's sold like it is. It's marketed like it is.
You should say that all the time. You should say that all the time, dude.
I wish I could. It's sort of I got it from a modified to modify. Thank you. Maybe I will. Right? Like
say it all the time. I don't give a fuck where you got it from. All the time. It makes so much sense.
And that's the point. Like for example, we all know weight loss is consistent effort. For example, getting into shape day after day after day. No one day is going to show you anything.
Oh, I'm counting calories right now on MyFitnessPal, dude.
There you go, buddy.
My goal is to lose a pound a week, man. It's just right.
But every night, you see infomercials like you can do it quick, and making money is so, it's the same, right? I mean, I think like we're talking about, if you look at there's the outliers, the 5% that do some scheme and blow up. And then there are the 1% or 5% that do the Facebook, right? But for the rest of us, if you put in consistent effort, you will have a great lifestyle. But people want the reward before they get the thing, right? And the other thing I find is like people watch like musicians and like basketball players and athletes, and they're like, they only see them winning a trophy, winning a championship. They didn't see how many fucking 5 a.m. practices they showed up to, how many hours. No one sees that part. No one sees, even like when you watch a movie, right? Like an entrepreneurship movie, they'll show like the 2-minute montage of them working hard. And then the other hour and a half of the movie is the great lifestyle they have, right? It should actually be flipped. It should be a shitty movie where this person's doing shitty, boring work for like 1 hour, 45 minutes, and the nice part's 5 minutes. But that 5 minutes
that doesn't sell, man. I mean, we got to give them what they want on the front end, give them what they need on the back end. That's always been my philosophy with selling information, is give them what they want on the front end, man. Don't lie about it. Don't be deceptive, but give them what they want. and then slowly introduce them to what they need, so I mix in my content, I mix in mindset stuff. I mix in this, but I can't, if it's like one of my favorite memes is that meme to where the guy's at the podium and he says, "Who wants change?" And everybody's like, "Me." And then he's like, "Who wants to change?" And then nobody raises their hand, right? Because everybody wants change, but nobody wants to change. You know what I mean?
Wow.
So it's like you got to sell them what they want on the front end with mixing in real talk, but then give them what they need on the back end. And that's been a very successful formula, and it allows me as an information marketer to stay in integrity because I deliver on what I sold them, but I also deliver on even more than that. And most of the people who go through and have followed me for years, the biggest thing they talk about is not how much money they made, even though I've helped tons of people make money. And I'm as surprised by that as anybody else. I'm not like, oh, I'm so fucking great. I just, somehow, some way, I think it's because of the culture. And I think it's because of the second thing which is what people talk about most. It's the personal transformation. It is the getting honest. It is the taking responsibility. It is this, this kind of focus on simplicity and commitment and discipline and developing these skills and trying to make it practical for people. One of the assignments that I give people when they buy the blueprints is clear out your wallet, and then I've got, constant things that I talk about with coaching clients and blueprint members about other ways to create simplicity in your daily life, because all of our success is based upon clarity and it's based upon simplicity. If I don't have clarity about something, I'm not going to have self-esteem about it. If I don't know who I am, I could get really off on a tangent about how we develop, how we get disconnected from ourselves at an early age. When we really need authenticity, we need to be able to express our emotions and our anger. And a lot of that's suppressed because angry kids don't get loved, right? So we learn not to be ourselves. We learn to be what our parents want us to be, and we learn to be what society wants us to be, but not really who we are and not really how we feel. And, so we lack clarity on who we are, especially when we come in to start a business. One of the biggest things is people are just confused. They're so confused about who they are, what they want to do. Making a decision about anything is so hard. And so getting clarity about who our target audience is, who we want to serve, who we are, what we're good at. Just getting clarity is the first step to developing self-esteem. And it's one of the reasons why so many marketers lack self-esteem, because they don't have clarity. And so getting clarity about who our market is, what their pain points are, and also getting clarity about ourselves, who we are, what we like, what we don't like, and then building our business in ways that honor what we like, and don't get us doing things that we don't like, or that, if you fucking hate video, why are you trying to build a YouTube channel? Or if you, it's just an example, but I mean, I'm not saying people shouldn't challenge themselves to do things, but I'm just saying that we just don't know who we are. Right. So that's why clarity is the bedrock to self-esteem. And it also, as we begin to get clarity, it's also reattaching to our childhood authentic self, man. It's recovering our authentic self. That's what entrepreneurship in this journey has been like for me. It's been recovering my authentic self. And then I have to focus on simplifying things on an ongoing basis, because I want to do everything, and I want to accumulate everything. And I need to constantly work on simplifying, clearing out my closet. I have the same thing to eat every day. Little things that I do that help me simplify and get comfortable with less, rather than always needing more opportunity, more money, more this, more that. If I can be happy with simplicity, then it clears out space for me to be more of my authentic self, focus more on my work, need less so I'm less desperate, right? I need less, right? So I'm less desperate for money. At the beginning of an entrepreneur journey, you should lower your living expenses. You should go out to eat less. You should eat more ramen noodles. You should be willing for that year to not buy any new clothes. All those kind of things are what we need to do in our first year. And that's an act of simplicity, right? It's an act of simplifying our lives, right? So I can have more energy and time to focus on my business and finding out who I am, getting clarity about my true authentic self, who I'm serving, who I am, which then leads back up to the self-esteem piece, right? I grow my self-esteem when I do these things that I'm outlining right here. And this is the formula to not just growing a business, but also growing as a person. And again, back to why I think people have followed me or have gotten so much results is not because I teach them the magical marketing trick, but it's because I challenge them to explore things like what I'm talking about right now.
Yeah, Dave, I mean, what you said there, I'm picking up what you're putting down in terms of refinding your authentic self and who you were as a child. That's truly profound, in the sense, you're right. Like, we all lose, that sense of wonder, that sense of, when you're a kid and you're like, what do you want to be? I want to be an astronaut. Or, you lose, the world beats you down and says, no, you got to be realistic. You got to be realistic. Right.
Yeah. You got to be a venture capitalist or whatever, like with you, right? With the whole home run, like somewhere, somehow that message was delivered to you just from watching entrepreneur stuff. And that was, you were like, oh, I got to do that. And I totally get that, I understand that. And you're bold and brave enough to go after it, and that's great. That experience was not in vain.
No,
but the truth is I know I have a lot of friends who are in Silicon Valley. I have some really close friends and I know they're in their personal life and what it's like. And it's not a dream. What I feel like true, and they all want my life.
Absolutely.
They all want my life, dude. And I don't want theirs, because they're under so much pressure, boards and all this different.
Their investors run them.
Oh,
you don't have a boss.
But the authentic self, I think we leave it there because you had a shift there and a sort of an aha moment. And I think you're such a cool cat and you're articulate. And I think the more that you personally can connect to your authentic self and really just disconnect from all of this other messaging or all of this, whatever story you have in your head about what society wants from Kevin. And instead, what does Kevin want? What does Kevin want for his life? What does Kevin want for his business? What does Kevin want his day to look like? What does Kevin want what is Kevin's message? What is Kevin's entrepreneurial message? And just focus on that. Focus on recovering your true authentic self because you've got all these raw skills and all this raw talent and can clearly do anything you want to do. And if you connect to that authentic self, who you were as a child before you got all this fucked up messaging and all these things that created these stories about who Kevin needs to be good enough, or who Kevin needs to be in order to be successful, or whoever you're trying to get validation from. Maybe it's parents, maybe it's ex-girlfriends, maybe somebody hurt you along the way. I had lots of people hurt me and I wanted their validation. And just let that stuff go and figure out, what does Kevin want? What is Kevin's message? What does Kevin want his business to look like? You might even find out that you don't even want to make that much money. You just want a simple life. You want a simple routine in your business. You want to release one quality video per week on YouTube and you're okay. I don't know. I'm not trying to put thoughts in your head, but when you really strive to cancel the noise and really kind of sit with, what do I actually want? And then you write that down, you get crystal clear on that. and then you work on simplification every single time something comes in the way of that plan, you really give it 72 hours. I heard Drake say this the other day on an interview. He said, my mom taught me about the 72-hour rule, which is whenever I see something, instead of like that's like gossip on the internet or whatever, instead of just running right to social media and responding, I give it 72 hours. And, you know, after 72 hours, somebody else has done some dumb shit, and it's not even a big deal anymore. It's right. Or I've just lost all emotion around it. And if you give yourself that 72 hours when something comes into your world, an opportunity, something, and you decide, you say, do I really want to pursue this? Or do I want to stay on track with what my goal is here that I've outlined for myself to seek that business that fulfills that authentic self goal that I have for myself? I think your potential and what you can achieve with this is way beyond what you probably can even imagine, dude.
Thank you.
I'll leave you with that.
Thank you. I sincerely appreciate you personalizing it. I know we have a lot of people on the call, but I'm sure a lot of people take that. That message applies to really everyone, right? Yeah. So thank you. I'm definitely going to take that to heart.
Here's the beautiful thing about like this business for me is that whether you do anything with what I just said or not, by me saying it, it reminds me of what I need to be doing. So. Right. I'm the one, you getting on, you're thinking that I'm sitting here helping you. I am, but I'm not. What I'm actually doing is I'm helping me. And that's one of the things of getting more in touch with your authentic message is when you begin to speak the things that you really believe, that you really know are true, and you speak that in videos and you speak that in calls and conversations. What happens is you train yourself through repetition of saying the same things over and over again. And it further solidifies your beliefs about those things. So even if nobody else on your YouTube channel or your list ever takes your advice, you're further becoming a more powerful, more confident and convicted person, right?
You internalize that message more.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So, well, brother, I hope you'll come back. I really enjoyed talking.
Let me know.
All right. Sounds good, man. Be well. I've had your YouTube channel up here. You guys go find Kevin Fernando. He goes by Solopreneur on his YouTube channel. Watch this guy. Keep an eye on this guy. Go support his stuff. Lift him up. And I'm sure he'll do the same with you. And it's been great, bro. Okay. Be well, be legendary. And I'll talk to you soon. Okay.
Thank you, Dave. It's been a pleasure.
All right. See you, Kevin. All right, my friends, that's it. Nothing more to say. It's been legendary this morning. I've got to hop on other calls and start my week, start my day. Have a great day. We'll see you guys back here tomorrow for Wake Up Legendary.